Okay, so we're just gonna try having me do it, right?
Yep, and then you know what you were gonna do after this? I'll try to do it tomorrow. I mean, I
Okay.
think that might be a good way of doing it. Then I'll run into questions. I can say, hey, you know what? Yeah, this didn't work out so well, but maybe it will work out perfectly. So yeah, Tammy, just make it happen. I think that's where
Okay.
we're at. I'm just curious to see if this will run everything from the very beginning for you. Oh, so it looks like it also was kind of having fun with your user account, so that's good. You know, that it looks like it's uniform between me and you.
Yeah, we could ask them to remove that from the auto run, the Skype and the
Oh, yeah.
whatever. So I'm just doing the same thing we did, going to the C drive, BizDat, Fiips, Job Bat,
Yep.
manual rerun. Dan, if you want, if you have open time, like tomorrow morning or otherwise next week, because I know I'm out for a doctor appointment in the morning, but
What time's good for you, Tammy?
yeah, I don't know. I'll look and schedule something or.
Like what I okay, so fine. You're gonna do it tomorrow morning, right? Or not?
Yes. Yeah. No, I'll do it first thing in the morning tomorrow.
Would it be an issue if I tried to do it? Is there a possibility that I could mess stuff up if I tried? Would it just like overwrite your files, or I don't know what I'm trying to do here. I'd like to be able to see if I could have success with you or without you.
Okay.
But maybe I should wait until Tuesday, which, of course, we kind of blew that up. How does your Tuesday at like 10:30ish look like?
Um,
I'll look, Tammy.
yeah, and I know I have some time I have to mark out Tuesday. I just haven't done it yet because I have another doctor appointment on Tuesday.
Sure.
But I'll get that updated as soon as this morning slows down a bit.
Okay.
But back to the question, you know, there are three parts to this, like we talked and recorded previously, there's three batch files we run. So if you want to troubleshoot this first one, Dan, there's no harm because whatever changes you make or don't make, or how many times you run it or don't run it, or you half run it or whatever, you go ahead, you can, get the first batch to run fine, which is the one we're running right now. It will not impact anything else because the third one is what actually pushes it out to the regions and updates their public drives with the database.
Okay.
So you can troubleshoot all you want on this first one. It won't impact anything. So now we're at that heartbreak, modify dates, blah, blah. So then we just go up one level to the job folder and we go in and we put previous day's date in there.
Okay, so you're really okay. I was concerned that it would show the old stuff, then have to be like, oh yeah, just remember to do this. But that's good for, I'll say, my
Yeah, and
demonstration.
that's why I tried to point out that this file that we're changing here is created in the first part of this. When it goes and it loads this,
Oh,
that's part of this macro that's running in this database. And then we fixed your error. You didn't get this error when it ran this macro. That's why I said it was a different database before when we got the second access. Because where you're getting the halt now, or the error we got to troubleshoot you out of, is in the DTD underbar database. So this thing uses, see this database? You're in the jobs folder, you're in the Fiips job, and it's this database. This was the database you were getting hung up on versus this database, which is what's processing in the macro right now.
Okay.
So it's confusing only because there's so many similar named things. And again, this is way more complicated in my opinion than it needs to be. You just need to have, the fires enough time. You just have to have the time to go in here and fix it to make it better and weed out some of the junk that over the years has accumulated. And then, the question becomes, well, if you're going to do that, what should it just be rewritten in PowerShell, or, what about if you switch it over to Control M versus Windows? What could that potentially strip out? I don't know.
Can I call you back in a few minutes?
So this is just kind of a waiting game, right?
Yep. Once that's the only intervention you need to do is to edit those dates. That too could be modified with the code, but the thing is, this manual rerun is just, it's a secondary job so that if somebody calls us, hey, there was a problem, you can run this one. When the job that's set up in the Windows 10 task scheduler is the other one, which is, basically the same one without that hard break to modify the dates. So there I went out and it grabbed from the FTP site, it grabbed all of the mainframe.data files that the Fiips capture job produced as output, and it transferred them over to the LAN side of things as a text file. The only note up 4 or 5 statements, the Perl statement, that is very important. If this doesn't run, the project.txt file there, which equivalates to the project table in the Access database, it will have bad data. The data will be distorted because that there's special characters and stuff that are coming over, and so that's stripping them out. If that makes sense. I mean, and then we can look at the table after this, because even with that statement in there, that's another outstanding fix. There's like 1 or 2 what appears to be data records that got cut off, so they're just kind of thrown in there. They don't appear to be impacting anything because they're not making it to even be a primary key that the record could be called up. And it's like leftover data from maybe 1 or 2 other records that, to my knowledge, no users have called out as a problem. It's definitely not something that should be ignored, but I mean, we're just down on staff and what's priority, so.
Yeah.
So I don't know why you got the error you got, Dan. I know I got or received, multiple errors when I was trying to get it set up for myself. But just so you know that I'm not using it any
differently or
database. No, these are on the hard drive, so it's the same database. So it's got to be in your settings. And then when you leave,
go ahead.
We would want to leave this with that bar closed, just so somebody doesn't inadvertently go in here and mess stuff up.
I gotcha. So are we on this MCR refresh and exit macro that we have to look at, or?
Yeah, we don't. Right, it's right here. This one. Refresh and exit.
Okay.
So, and even though these statements are running up here, these BLAT statements, like I'm not getting all these, and there's a variable set up top of this that sets who you can email, but the Blat thing is only partially working.
Okay.
There's probably a better way to do it. The other thing is like at no time should anybody's password be hard coded. This is as you can see, my mainframe password is hard coded.
Will that cause an issue if your password changes?
Yes. If I change my mainframe password, this will not run.
And that what changes every 60 days or 90 days?
Yes, I think
Okay.
it's 60. The other, again, I guess, I don't know, we should have further discussion and then finalize what direction this thing's going. If we're going to keep it limping along, the biggest thing that, guys need to do is to work with the mainframe people and get that job copied from my library into your library and for it to be able to run.
Yeah.
And then, then you would need to go into this batch file, test it with your credentials.
Mm-hmm.
You only need to put your credentials in once in the batch file because the batch file goes out and creates, I'll show you. Batch file goes and it creates these files, which store your, right there. See that's my mainframe password.
Sure.
But I'm not going in and hard coding it in this file, to my knowledge. I don't know. I'll keep an eye on this when I change my password if I'm still around here. But
Yeah, but even like from the standpoint of like, could I take it over and put my password in and I wouldn't care what it is, but as long as, I could change it and not to say I could give it to you or what, I don't know, like where is that changed hard coded or is that just
in the batch file.
so
What
if I wanted
right here?
Okay.
And see, then what this thing does is it goes out and it creates these other files that has it. These files, all these FTP files, these are created in this batch file.
What
So
password is that?
your HOD mainframe password.
Gotcha. Oh, okay. The ones that you'd log in to get to Fiips, right?
Correct.
Okay.
And here, as far as the Blat utility we're using, like I said, throughout here you'll see things that, it's saying Blat, send the email, blah, blah. None of them are working except for the last one. So
Okay.
right here, I should have gotten this email right now. And if I go over to my email,
You get an email from this thing every time it runs successfully then or unsuccessfully?
I get this one right here.
There you go.
Right here. And I put that in there just, well, it should be, we should have messaging, we should have error capturing and blah, 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 blah. But, I just keep going back to how much effort you want to put in something that you don't even know is going to stay because this should have been long gone. And
Yeah.
the only reason it's here is because of, Southwest or Southeast and, Southwest and the unknowns of.
Right.
But North Central used to be a big one, and now they're taken care of with the rewrite of the let grid detail and the program allocation report. So the bigger one is Southeast. But again, if I am suddenly gone, the biggest thing is to have this in your mainframe SaaS Lib, this job running daily. So, and then you go in here and change these parameters right here. This one is, this is not a big deal, this email one.
Right.
But you need the username and then your Fiips, what you refer to as your Fiips password, your mainframe password set there. And this is really the only place you need it because this goes out and creates these.
Would it be
So-
unwise? Would it be unwise to change that to mine right now? Because I don't care. My Fiips password, I think I just reset it. I don't know. Would that just be smart or not?
Well, you can, but do you have, over on the mainframe, do you have the job set up?
I mean, probably not. I mean, I don't know. That's just kind of a.
You got, work with Justin Hardy.
Okay.
That's who I worked with, and we had to make some changes or whatever. But I those changes are made now, so I do, what it would, to me anyway, would be really just a matter of him grabbing it from my lib and setting it up in your lib to run, and then then we just go in here and swap the credentials out in these files.
Okay. Yeah, I'm trying to figure out I'll say the wiseness of that. I mean, at some point in time, I mean, it might have to change over to me. When was the last time you changed your Fiips password?
Um, I don't even know, maybe
Yeah.
a month ago.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't keep track of it that
Yeah,
much.
it's just kind of like, you know what? It's like I'll tell you when my Fiips password goes away. The moment that I try to log into Fiips and it says I can't do it, but it seems like it's like 10 times a year. I mean, I know it's less than that, but it's like and yeah,
I
it's
don't
just
know.
kind of crazy.
Yeah, but these are two other files just to point out that are pretty critical. These ini files.
Yep,
You can't be like having anybody delete them off this PC
sure.
because those are like, the templates or whatever that's used to do the transfer. But so that was part one, or that was the first batch file. The second one would just be this push.
I'm gonna look for a time next week for us if that's okay, Tammy. I just kind of feel like
Yeah, that's fine. So
I can always recreate it, but I would love for a smoother, let's say, recording. Yeah, it's just kind of jammed up. I mean, maybe even like next Thursday if you can
sure,
work with
that's
that.
fine. Yeah, that's fine. And then the other one, the third batch file resides out on the network, and it's on the Rapids server in the biz data folder. I think this is on the N3 public share. I'm not 100%, but pretty sure. And you just go into Fiips, and it's this bizdata This
Okay.
is the file. Go in here. This is a file that actually pushes it to the network drives. So,
Okay.
and again, just to reiterate, even if this would bomb here, I probably wouldn't get this email. If the blat is getting hung up where it must have to do with some type of send signal here. It needs another, I think, a command to be recognized as like a hard enter or something. I don't know. I just dropped it. Like I said, I got it working and then I went on to something else.
Yeah.
But this is the one that pushes to the things. That's why you can troubleshoot your first batch all you want, Dan, without
Yeah,
impact.
I got you. So is like most of the work on that, I'll call it part one, and these last two are just kind of, I'll say push type of macro actions or whatever I want to call them.
Yeah, the second one is kind of critical because the second one, where we pointed out these different databases.
Mm-hmm.
So this first one here is used where it goes out and it runs that macro to create the job string parameter. But then it goes in and this other one here, this DTD Fiips, this is like a holding tank, a working database where it runs some macros to separate the regions.
Okay.
So
Sure, I got you. Yeah, you separate the regions, then you do the push out to each individual in layman's term. True?
yeah, exactly. And that's what, so if you look at all these individual macros, it goes through and it runs these, and then it's running all these queries.
And you have that set warnings thing. Actually, it was, I can't remember. Or the refresh and exit had the set warning issue that I was having that you apparently do not.
Correct. And all that this macro refresh and exit does is run all of these up above it. That's
Yeah.
all that is. See that? Macro refresh D5. I don't know why they're out of order, but they are.
And you get to the bottom, it kind of run into the same issue I had, right?
Yeah, you
Can't
gotta.
quite see. So, You do that.
Yeah, it's just a navigation trick because of the window you're in.
I see, I think. I'm okay with just trusting that it's there too.
Yeah, it's there. It's
Okay.
and all it's really gonna do is say quit. I don't know why I can't get there. Quit, exit. I lied. Exit.
Okay.
But basically, this here just runs all of the eight above it. That's all that does.
All right, makes sense.
So then these are running all these individual queries. But this wraps back to, I think, one of the reasons why the constraints were put on the data and whatnot. I don't know. There's so much of this, and then when something changes, you got, there's so much of that needs to be modified. And it's great when the developers are here. I mean, for all these different things, whether it be Linda Thede that did this years ago, I don't really know for sure, but they're all great,
But Jason Hardy, if that was his name, or Jason, or what was his name?
Hardy.
What was
I
his
want to
first
say
name?
Hardy.
Justin.
Justin Hardy. Okay. He's done this with you recently, so from the standpoint of having someone that has it fresh in his mind, he'd be able to make this happen, it sounds like.
Yes.
Okay.
And the job that you want is the one I called out in that email, and it's Harding.
Harding.
Like,
Okay.
Harding.
Justin Harding.
Like-
So, but in the email that I sent the team this morning,
Yeah.
it's whatever Fiips capture dat or whatever the heck it was.
Okay.
I attached the file as a text file to the email I sent this morning.
Okay.
That the request for him would be, I need this job set up in my mainframe library, just like DOT T2H has, and I need it to run.
Okay.
And then
That's good.
once you have that piece, then then I would swap credentials on the batch files and test.
Okay. That sounds good, Tammy. I think. Okay, so from your standpoint, your demo is basically done, right? Everything has been newly pushed over.
Yeah, and if you want to check it, you'd go.
You have all the connection to the regional.
Yeah, I don't have all of them, but okay, so here this would be Southeast.
Sure.
And it's the N3 public share. So it's the same one. If we go to Southwest, it's N3 public. If we go to Northeast, it's N3 public. Here we're in Superior.
Do I have to jump into one of those to see it though? Region, okay.
Well, and see, Superior is different because that's back to when it was districts versus regions.
Yeah.
So that's this, instead of sitting on the Superior server, it's probably on the Eau Claire server.
Okay.
But like if we go to Southwest, here's Southwest, then when we go to the I'm in a different network what am I doing here?
So you're Waukesha there.
Well, it is under region. So it's under region. I was getting messed up. So here we're back to Southwest. You go into the region, biz data. They all have the same structure. Under N3 public, you go into region, and then biz data, Fiips. And now you can see there, somebody was in a session here. These lock files you can just delete if you even have permission, but this is somebody left their session open or got hung up yesterday afternoon in this one.
Yeah.
But anyway, the files that are pushed are FIPSAS MDB. This is the main one. Every region has this very same one. Then they have the dist underbar FIPS MDB, which is just that region only data. So FIPSAS, statewide, look at the bytes, larger. Dist FIPS, region only. We'll have varying sizes if you compared them.
Okay.
Part of the batch file that we run that puts them out here takes the existing one and renames it to old.
Okay.
So here you can tell that this job The last time this was run was on the 20th. So the last time it ran was me running it Monday morning. I didn't run it yesterday. I didn't run it the day before, and we're just now ran it today. That's how you can check, though.
Yeah.
You know,
Okay.
you're
That's
successful.
that's good. And not to say if I had a contact in the region, someone who's our southeast person that knows when this is out. I can't remember his name. What is his name? Yeah. All right. I think, this is good. I'll only really truly attach to it once I'm able to do it successfully. So maybe, I've got the recording, of course, which is terrific, but I'm hoping for something really nice and tight that works for me. And then I'll never understand it the way that you do, and not say that that's fine as long as everything is perfect. But
Dan, you will. I'm telling you, it's just that it's all this excessive old garbage that makes it confusing.
okay,
It is so simple. It's not even. Honestly, it is.
okay,
Really,
That means I could do it?
yeah. David,
Well,
hold on, hold off.
What we need is a decision. It's like you need a decision. Where, you need a short-term vision of this and a long-term, and then a decision on, does it stay exactly the same as it has just to keep it limping along?
Yeah.
If it does, fine. That's fine. Then you move forward and you work with Todd Morrison to figure out why Access is, saying that it last time was closed improper, but yet if you manually run it, you don't get the error. So it's something to do with the Windows Task Scheduler, but bombing. That's the other thing. I mean, we could quickly look at if you wanted, and I know we're gonna look at this further, but these are set up on the hard drive of the dedicated PC, and if they bomb, in here, there's parameters that, you can set these up. And it just says that if the job runs longer than 2 hours, abort it.
Okay.
So you won't really get an error. It's just that it ain't going to, it's not going to work. I'm trying to see where they are in here. They're in here. Right here, I put them as download 1, 2, and 3. So if you go in here, let's see, how do we do this again? You can go into a history. I don't know if I'm going too fast or what, but in the history here, it'll. Yeah, I think I clogged it up. Okay, here we go. So the task failed. I don't know how I figured it out, but I know that this error it's failing because it won't open Access. So when the batch gives the command to open up the Access database to run the macro, it throws an error to open MS Access. So Todd Morrison would be the one that should be checking on this. Okay. I mean, if he was aware. I don't know why key stuff's still out here. Huh. I don't know what's going on there, but anyway, this is, I don't know if you want to take a snapshot of that, Dan, or if you're still recording, and these could be, wipe these out and create your own.
Okay.
There's a little bit of a timing trick, and that has to do with the date play thing that we're doing too, is that the job on the mainframe runs at night. I don't know if it's 6, 8 o'clock at night, whatever. But that's part of the reason why, we're looking at it the next day. There was a problem running it. We need to rerun it. We have to put yesterday's date because typically we're doing this before 6 or 8 o'clock, so it hasn't run for that date. So there's no data set sitting out there with that date, tagged to it. So there's nothing to grab. That's why we have to reset the date to the day prior. So, yeah, I don't know, Dave. Dave, this is part of my priority thing. Question to you, what you want me to focus on. Whatever it might be is what I'm going to focus on.
Okay, I'll get back to you on that.
Okay.
Okay. Do you have, both of you have 2 more seconds?
Sure.
Yeah, you're done.
Just kidding. The email you sent regarding, Tammy, contract manager's PC with the Windows update, Windows 10?
Yes.
The whole thing with Todd Van Fossen and all that. Brian is concerned that any upgrade on Windows 10 now may cause complications for contract manager. Do you have any thoughts on that, or?
Well,
And he said that'd be a really bad thing.
I can only say that we have workstations that are configured right now with Windows 10.
Yeah.
And they're fine. And I'm included in that pool. I've been upgraded to Windows 10, and I am able to access contract management. So, BITS has not been able to identify the incompatibility or the bug that exists in one workstation configuration versus another. Given that the 2 most recent attempts to upgrade from 7 to 10 for PCM 13 users was unsuccessful, I threw that red flag.
Yeah.
So I just want on record, no, I'm not authorizing it, and somebody higher needs to, because this stuff is too fragile, and these consultants cost too much money. We all cost too much money, but I shouldn't have said it that way. It's not consultants, but anybody who's assigned to any work, if you don't have the tool to do it, you can't do it. And if we take this tool away, God forbid what's going to happen. And the other thing is that they're not swapping. They're not giving them a new machine with Windows 10. They're taking their existing machine and they're upgrading it to Windows 10. So,
okay.
If they want to give them a new machine with Windows 10, then hey, yeah, it works. That's great. Now give me the rest of my stuff, and then you can take my Win 7.
Gotcha. All right. Fair enough.
Okay.
Advent Lessons thing is very easy to run. And I don't know how much that conversation might have gotten furthered with Jim Donlin, Dan, or David. But I know that Jim Donlin had put in that email that they had some workarounds, I don't, and that he had access on his machine. So I only know that I'm in agreement with Todd Van Fossen that every Monday I send him the change management summary log, and I've been doing it.
Okay.
That's something that, well, I suppose we could have automated if it's priority, I could, but anybody that has contract management access, should run that, and that's why I put that on the next agenda topic. I can show you guys how to run it.
Okay, very good.
Okay.
Thank you, Tammy.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thanks.
Yep.
All right. Yep.
Thanks, Dan.
Yep.
Yep.
Bye now.
Bye.